Hello, hello. That is it. It is 14.1 and 14.2. Whoops. And let's get that link onto the Discord. Cool. All right, Vale is here. Greg's here, and then 2 + 4 × 5 is driving. As a reminder of, As a reminder of the audience participation question, it's how much of a relief is it that we're finally past the part where Rachel is mad at Taylor? Which I would say quite a relief. Greg says, look at that adorable little bastard. Yeah. I think we get the nice domestic scene here. It's nice to see, Rachel when no bad thing is currently happening, So, there's that. I wanted to give a content warning for, Alec is in this chapter. So, beware about feelings that might bring up, given that he does, bad crimes to people in his past. And, probably the whole body control is bad crimes to people now, so yeah. And boop. Let's go ahead and turn that down a little bit. So for the themes, I guess it seems like one of the themes that's running throughout these chapters is the disunity between the Undersiders and the Travelers, especially between Trickster and Tattletale. They generally have like a bad dynamic that's being displayed here, and it's ramps up over time, I would say. So moving into Vic's section for 14.1, Taylor wakes up on the couch. She had fallen asleep on Brian's shoulder and drooled all over him. He says he didn't sleep, meaning that he had sat up, letting Taylor lean on him for 5 hours or more. He lets her know that he didn't mind and it was okay. Taylor doesn't appreciate this non-committal okay from Brian. We were glad that Taylor has relaxed since the last chapter, because she's actually worrying about upsetting Brian now, rather than taking his confession of love as a personal attack. Taylor offers Brian coffee and thinks about the irony of the situation that it took for her to get healed and refreshed with a night's sleep. Greg says, "Oh, this is why Bitch connects with Taylor so much these chapters. Falling asleep on people and drilling on them is dog behavior." Oh, yes, it's all becoming clear to me now. Let's see here. Taylor joins Aisha and Alec in the kitchen, and Aisha accuses Taylor of using Brian's vulnerable state to get closer to him. Taylor claims it was an accident, and Alec says, "Bet you $1,000 he didn't mind, because Alec thinks Taylor is hot." That is, of course, Vic's note, but, probably to some degree. Vale says, "This is why I drool on people around me while awake. Don't want to be mistaken for dog-laying." Exactly. If you were to fall asleep, then we'd get the wrong impression and wouldn't think you're a human anymore. So Alec talks about when he was younger and he used to always have someone sleeping with him, whether it was someone he used his power on or one of his dad's girls. He says it's been a while, but having someone to cuddle with is pretty nice on a bad day. Alec's admittal of heinous kind of snuffs out whatever kindness he may have been trying to provide toward Taylor. Taylor feels the weight of being surrounded with damaged people and starts preparing breakfast. So Rachel and Lisa arrive. Rachel graciously accepts the offer of breakfast after chastising Taylor for daring to suggest that she give her dogs bacon. She serves up the food, and Ballistic comes and takes over the rest of the breakfast for his team. The Undersiders settle in for a meal together, and Taylor asks Rachel what Bastard is. And it's one of those moments where it's like, you mean, what kind of dog breed? No. And Taylor's being all cryptic, because she knows that Rachel actually loves it when people are all cryptic and barely say anything. Let's see here. Lisa deduces that the wolf was a gift from Siberian, and Taylor asks how Siberian even told her about being a Slaughterhouse 9 nominee. And Bitch says that she told her. She doesn't elaborate, really. Brian tries to argue, but Rachel stresses that she showed up, told her with words, and left, leaving a baby wolf at her place. Lisa is concerned that it could have a tracker, but Rachel says that he smelled like the forest. And anyway, that doesn't align with Siberian's talk of accepting that they're animals. Lisa thinks that Siberian was playing up the feral strategy, and might even be conning her team. For example, Brian's new power. Whose power was he stealing from when he became a black and white striped, all-powerful, naked man? Lisa thinks that the Siberian's body is actually a projection, and that she might even be hiding this from Jack. Rachel is clearly irritated and tells Lisa she's wrong, and she was too easy for Rachel to understand. When Lisa says that she just knew Rachel enough to deceive her, she stands ready to go off, and Taylor interjects that if she really wants to know whether Siberian was playing her or not, they should get the answer from Cherish. While Lisa goes off to contact Coyle, Taylor catches Rachel staring at her. Rachel asks her if it's true, what she said, that she would have done the same thing for Rachel that she did for Brian. Rachel asks if she thinks she'd back up Taylor the same way, and Taylor's like, does it matter? She can tell Brian is listening, and so she's basically talking to Rachel and Brian through this conversation with Rachel. She says life is never going to be fair and balanced, and she'd rather stop stressing about that balance. Taylor tells Rachel that she should do what she wants to do, and she won't hold it against her. Yeah, I mean, this is like one of those points where it could easily have broken, like the conversation could have gone the other way, and Rachel could have gotten, like, really upset. And I was glad that this was, like, kind of, I don't know, one of the last times this kind of thing happens. But it's just like, you know, I get that Rachel would be hesitant, but from a story perspective, glad to be past it. Lisa returns to the room and says Cherish wants to strike a deal. She'll tell them about the Siberian if they let her talk to them for 2 minutes. Obviously, she thinks she can destroy the team remotely, since she is currently tied to a buoy or something in the middle of a massive lake. Now, that's not exactly accurate. I think she's at the boat graveyard, but, you know, these things get written quickly sometimes. Lisa thinks that Cherish wants them to turn her down so that they'll regret it later. And this is where it switches over to me. That's why I guess real wordy over nothing sometimes here. I was still trying to speed it along, but Vale says, if this becomes an anime, this is the beach episode. This is the beach episode when they see Cherish at the boat graveyard, and then later they see the hostages that the Nine had. Okay, I guess that's the beach episode. I'm defeated by this idea. Anyway, Lisa says it's about 75% chance that there's more going on and that they should talk to her. Brian and Taylor think that this is a bad idea, but Lisa pivots off something Sundancer says to overcome one of the problems with this. If they have something to hide, she could reveal it to the group, but people with something to hide can't reveal that they have something to hide. So, continuing to lead the conversation, Lisa needs a book for a little game they're going to play. Brian tells Aisha to go and get one, and she actually does it, trying to do her best with Brian after his encounter with Bonesaw, which was, yesterday. The book they have is 355 pages, and Lisa sets the limits. The last page, 355, we'll say, is the worst of the worst, unforgivable, to the point someone here would kill you and the rest would be okay with it. Anything below 150, it's tolerable, stuff we'd be ashamed for others to know, but we'd be okay with them knowing for the greater good. Jumping back to the chat, we got Vale saying, saying, yes, with random bikini instances to support anime sales. No, Vale, you can't have a bikini episode during the Slaughterhouse 9 arc. It's unacceptable. The beach episode will have no swimsuits and be very sad. 2 + 4 × 5 says the Leviathan fight is when the beach episode is. Yeah, see, that's more appropriate to me. I think that, he kills people and stuff, which is very anime, but the whole, Slaughterhouse 9, mega torture, really a bummer. I think you could pull off a bikini episode where they're fighting Leviathan and tons of people are getting wiped out. I think that you could make that work. But, there are limits. Let's see here. Greg says, Taylor is going to use a bug-kini at some point. I just know it. Oh my god. Yeah, she's going to. She's willing to wear a bug mask. She's definitely going to put bugs as her only swimsuit. She'll be like, what? My suit washed off. And all the damn wacky hijinks from anime will ensue. Let's see here. So, once they have done their number grabs for papers, they're going to crumple the papers into the cushions of a couch. So then they'll have to check after they've all put their pages in. So hopefully they won't know who put in what papers. But let's not kid ourselves. Tattletale is in the group here. And so she will, in fact, know who put in what papers. So, if all the numbers generally aren't too high, then they'll go through with the call, and there are no overt objections at this point. Taylor decides more or less that she doesn't want to keep secrets from her, she doesn't need to keep any secrets from her team, but she can't let the Travelers know that she wants to betray Coil. Given this, Taylor picks 160, just past the line of tolerable to share secret. And then we get all the numbers. So in order, 26, 122, 140, 141, 155, 160, 175, 222, 325. The 26 has got to be Rachel. Let me think, who's there? It's, Trickster, Alec, Sundancer, Lisa, Rachel, Brian, Taylor, Aisha, Ballistic? Question mark? It's gonna be Ballistic. It's last. Anyway. So Vale says, Alec, I'll mess with everyone with a high number as a joke. The Travelers. Hold my beer. Yeah. So this makes it a no from the group. Lisa calls Cherish anyway, knowing she'll already know that they've decided no. So she proposes that just the Undersiders talk to Cherish. Trickster initially objects, but Lisa tells him, just going by what I know about our groups, I think our team is going to be more concerned about what outsiders think. You guys are going to be more concerned about what your teammates think. Am I wrong? No one objected overtly. So, got that shifted around. Vale, or 2 plus 4 times 5 says, I'll bet $10 that Alec was the one that chose 222. That's an amazing bet, since he tells us that in the chapter. Let's see here. Yeah. Just making sure I wasn't misremembering. Lisa suggests another vote. Alex says he has the 222. He doesn't think it would be a problem if just the Undersiders were on the call. So that takes out one of the major numbers. Lisa uses this to move things forward, and Taylor's kind of a similar mindset to Alec, that her problem won't be a problem when the Travelers leave the room. So once they've actually left, Lisa makes the call. Cherish tries to haggle up the phone time since she's only interacting with one team. Lisa says the clock is ticking. Vale says, Aisha is the one who put in 377. Yeah. A page from a different book. Let's see here. So, yeah, she tries to get more time. Lisa says the clock is ticking, so she jumps in on a whole thing about Alec and how he presents a bunch of questions to their morality and all these things that he's done. And then he kind of wastes some of her time by countering, back that she's done a bunch of bad stuff, and then explains that he was a kid and the bad stuff was from the environment he was raised in, including her influence. So, there's that. Some barbs are had. Once it's clear that this is going nowhere, Cherish moves on to taunting Gru, which is probably where she should have started. She should have just, focused on that. 2 plus 4 times 5, shift is starting. Listen to the rest later. Talk to you later. Cool. So, Yeah, so he should, Greg says, my crimes were merely boyish pranks. Alec, probably. Yeah, exactly. So Cherish says the Bonesaw will make things even worse for Gru the next time because he got away, and that she'll make it a point of personal pride. And this visibly gets to him, but she only stays on it for a moment. And Tattletale kind of keeps Skitter from reacting too much. She's like, calm it down. And then Cherish says that Skitter will betray bitch. Rachel shrugs this off, and she's like, oh, I fucking hate it when people try to manipulate me. And then the 2 minutes are up, and Alec expects her to not tell them anything, but her goals actually align with their own, and she wants them to kill the 9 to get herself out of, the retribution torture stuff. So the she tells them that the Siberian is a projection from a middle-aged man, and not only that, but both the man and the invincible lady are downtown near the crater lake that Leviathan had made, and they're chasing down one of the heroes as part of the Siberian's tests, because she's the current tester. So, Cherish won't tell them which hero, but we know that it's either Armsmaster or Panacea. Cherish wishes them well, wanting them to win, but also to die while they do it. They suit up in costume, Taylor as Bug Mask Skitter, and Tattletale steals the papers that people picked earlier, then makes sure Skitter is ready for the mission. She'll have to track down the real Siberian. Ba, ba, ba. Vale's gonna be AFK for a while. So, like, final chapter thoughts. Good opener to the arc. Gets us right into things. Makes Taylor a little more sympathetic than the last chapter when she had her really negative reaction with Brian. And by last chapter, I mean 2 chapters ago at the end of the Taylor set. 13. I don't know. It's good. There's a lot of cute. I find this art to encapsulate the cute moment pretty well. I mean, you could probably make a bunch of arts of this scene, like Ballistic at the stove or whatever. So it's a nice breather. You know. But also, we do have to hear about Alec's past, and, I mean, between Alec and Cherish's records, it's pretty gross. So, Yeah, I guess I forgot to mention that the Siberian's creator is like an unkempt middle-aged man. He's like barely keeping it together. He's like a weird washed up like person who would go around eating people with a projection power. Not super well adjusted. Moving on to chapter 14.2. We've got, we learn right away it's Amy. That's which hero it is. She's running away from the Siberian, and she's not that good at it. She's all panicked, etc. And so Siberian's doing her test to become a member of the Nine by her standard testing method of chasing Amy around, and each time she catches her, she grabs Amy's hand and bites off the end of a finger. So far, she's missing the end of 3 little fingies. So Skitter's group includes Gru, Tattletale, Trickster, and Sundancer, and they're on top of Bentley for Gru and Skitter, and Sirius for Trickster, or for Tattletale, Trickster, and Sundancer. Greg saying, lady fingers. Yeah. So Siberian slowly walks in straight lines after Amy, while Amy's like dodging and weaving through the broken streets of Brockton Bay in her like panicked escape run. And when Amy is caught again, Sundancer asks if they should do something, and they kind of explain that they don't really have an option or anything. And then before they even get into it, the Siberian bites another finger nub from Amy's hand and then lets her go. It gives her a good head start so that she can chase her around some more. Typical stuff. Skitter thinks about how she would do way better with Amy's power. thinks about all these different uses. She's like, oh, it seems like she's closing up her hand with some sort of bacteria, so she's not bleeding as much as she would. But she could be like putting up clouds of smoke or whatever. I mean, she could do all sorts of crazy stuff probably, like a weird algae bloom that I don't know what you would do with that. I guess it could be the smoke vector. Um anyway, I'm sure that someone as creative as Skitter would do plenty of things and would totally defeat everyone with Amy's power and nothing would go wrong. Um but yes, Skitter tries to guide Amy, but whenever her bugs touch Amy, then she starts sabotaging the bugs and giving Skitter that feedback loop that we saw, not only in Arc 3, but also in Arc 11 when they talk to her. Or no, 12? Wow, my mind, it's actually Arc 13, when they talked to her before they fought Mannequin and Burnscar. Um, so, anyway, they don't have a good object to use Trickster's power on to save Amy with, although I feel like they should have done better at improvising one. So they're watching from afar for now with binoculars, and Skitter's watching Siberian comb her hair for a minute. Um, she doesn't hold on the body as much as she does for some capes, but she does notice her nude form. Um, and then she's still searching for the real body with her bugs. And Amy is giving Skitter a bad powers headache at this point. She's getting better at hurting her faster, so she is getting better at something. And it's hindering Skitter's searching skills. She finds some guys, but they don't seem to be like the parahuman that she's looking for. Amy's still not working with Skitter yet and runs around a corner because she's not really picking up what Skitter's laying down, and they lose track of her. So Tattletale spends a moment, and she and Skitter notice some details about the Siberian, and Siberian's about to... or she's about to, like, elucidate on what she noticed, but then the Siberian jumps through a truck, cutting it in half, does a spin move, catches the two halves, and uses them as, like, throwing weapons. First throwing one half of the truck, then using the momentum to, like, spin and toss the other, taking out, like, a whole batch of swarm decoys, just, like, rolling over them, and it also knocks over Amy without killing her, which is kind of incredible. Like, I just can't imagine hitting someone with half a truck in a gentle enough middle ground way to not incapacitate them. But, be that as it may, the Siberian starts walking toward Amy again to get her running, and so Amy's, hoofing it, and she finally figures out she should be working with the person trying to save her rather than scrambling her brain. I know that this is a difficult concept for Amy, but, I think she could learn teamwork. It's possible. They can't use Sundancer to distract the Siberian because they don't want to give away their position. So Trickster teleports in a grenade to explode near the Siberian and distract her for a moment, like seeming as though someone is attacking from afar, which they are, just very ineffectively. And then she's looking around. Tattletale makes sure Skitter is still searching for the real Siberian, and Skitter snaps at her that, of course I am! Ah! Skitter and Gru ride out of the darkness, or ride out with the cover of his darkness, and they also know that he'll be able to sense if he, like, flows his darkness over the Siberian's creator, because or Amy, because he'll be able to connect with their power. And Skitter is still unable to find the guy they're looking for. I know I'm going to say that a lot, but it's just like persistent thoughts of it the entire time. Like that's their purpose here. And it's not working out. So Trickster spends another grenade as a split-second distraction. More decoys are being created at the same time as the darkness is blocking Siberian's line of sight to Amy. So Skitter can feel where the darkness is now in like more than she could for the previous type of darkness he had, because whenever it's through her bugs, she can like feel that. She can also feel the Siberian closing in on where Amy is, and Skitter sends a message to run in 3, 2, 1, and then the decoys start running everywhere. The Siberian's jumping around, busting them apart, and Amy keeps taking like stray bricks and rubble because the Siberian keeps like bursting through stuff so hard that pieces just go flying everywhere. So, you know, she's not holding up super well, not weathering this very well. Skitter finds a way to communicate directions to Amy quickly. She has like bugs on her fingers. You know, it's got to be a super gross bugs right on your hands form of directions. But she shifts where the bugs are so that they're always sort of pointing a cone in the right direction of where Amy needs to be headed. And then, where are we? So, Gru and Tattletale lead the dogs to loop around so that they can keep searching for the Siberian's creator. Gru can tell where Amy is because he's connected to her with his power, so he clears the darkness around her to let her see. And then, because the darkness is heavier now, it doesn't cover the tops of buildings, so the Siberian tries to like leap up above and look down, and it's not clear to me if she sees a gap in the darkness or if she's just able to figure out the general right direction, but she hops back down to ground level. And like Skitter notices, she doesn't like burst through the ground or like crack the pavement. She just like snaps her invincibility out. So just like total catfall where they land and it's all good. They're on the ground now. Skitter tests attacking the men in the area because she still can't find the real body and needs to make sure it's not one of these guys. This doesn't faze the Siberian, so she doesn't think they're who she's looking for, but she's not sure yet. Skitter has an instinct that the Siberian's real body is actually here, and that there has to be some kind of link that keeps them close together. And I mean, let's be real, this little insight that she has is probably her power, like, pushing her in the right direction for being super aggro. It's like, yes, continue to be aggro. Skitter realizes that the Siberian is pulling down a building by just like walking with her hand outstretched through the wall, just tearing it down slowly to topple it at Amy, and uses a bug diagram to depict this event to Amy, and then gets her running away in the right direction. The building collapses onto the side of the mall that Amy was in, and she probably wouldn't have like died even if she hadn't been running away, but the Siberian is still just like toying with her mostly as Amy like is able to get out the exit of the mall. The Siberian enters on the other side, and I don't think she has like visual contact with her, but that's kind of the only distance between them. And the dogs are looping around the mall again, this time trying to get to where Amy is while the Siberian's still searching for her, since she hasn't like actually seen where Amy is since before collapsing that building. The Siberian notices something, possibly like vibration in the ground or whatever, but it gets her moving towards Sirius, with the other 3 travel siders. And Skitter realizes that the real guy must be in a moving vehicle to keep up with the Siberian, given how like fast she moves around battlefields. Gru swoops in to save Amy on the dog, and Skitter's heart grows 3 sizes. It takes Amy a moment to realize that she was picked up by her allies and not the Siberian. And right as she is about to calm down, the Siberian shoves Bentley into... I guess the other 3 were on Bentley and they're on Sirius, but whatever. Shoves Bentley into Sirius, and the whole group falls the fuck over. All 6 of them and the 2 dogs on the ground, but none of them seriously maimed or anything. And then at Tattletale's behest, Gru cancels out his power. The Siberian stands looking at the group, and Tattletale tries to open a dialogue with her. She says that they're here for 3 reasons: saving Amy, killing the real body, and distracting her while the other team kills off Jack and Bonesaw. And so on top of the big info reveal tipping off the Siberian that they knew about the real body, when Tattletale says the other members of the team are vulnerable because they know that she's a projection, she just drops the ruse, you know, because she doesn't have to, like, keep up the facade that she's running away. She can just, like, disappear, then reform, like, in the direction she's already going. So, you know, maybe not reveal every piece of thing that you know all at the same time, Tattletale. It was a little too much. If she hadn't known that you knew about the power, he, whatever, it's like hard to tell if there's a separate consciousness behind Siberian or if it's all just the like projector guy. Because they kind of make it ambiguous, I feel like. But anyway, the projection drops away and just shows up somewhere else. But you would have saved, or you would have like distracted the projection for longer had you not given away that you already knew that part. It's just very tactically unsound. And Tattletale is absolutely shocked at this turn of events. And Trickster's about to flip the fuck out, but Tattletale yells to get on the phone and warn the others. You know, as you do. So, arc stuff. We're getting off to a good start. We have a really good, like, emotions chapter and, like, setting the stage for where the characters are going to go and, like, what their objective is. And then, like, a great first action chapter to link them up with Amy and really get the ball rolling on everything else. And, let's see here. Yeah, I guess that's most of the stuff I have to say as far as arc stuff. But, characters section. Vic had written one thing, which is Alec likes cuddling, is rapist. So, yeah, it's true. We get a lot of Alec and Cherish back and forth where they're like, using their past terrible actions as ammunition against each other. But what it really means is that we have to hear about all the terrible things they've done. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'll get into some super deep Alec thing in some future date, but not really feeling it right now. Moving on to Lisa. She is wilding out these chapters. Like, she's pretty right about the conversation with Cherish, and they kind of get away with what they need to as far as getting that info. But at the end of 14.2, when she just, like, gives the whole game away to Siberian, it's just, she had too many wins in a row, and it set her up to think that she could, like, kind of do whatever. Tattletale. Got Brian. Brian's getting right back on the Dojin riding. He is up and fighting the next day. Like, I don't know, pretty badass. I know he's been through a terrible trauma, but he is he's still out there doing it. I guess part of what he's really good at is hiding his feelings. So he's armoring himself in stoicism. Rachel, she's just flabbergasted at the idea that Taylor would, go back and save her like she saved Brian. But she seems to like that. It's very upsetting to her, first, at the assertion from Lisa that there is some trick going on with the Siberian and with Bastard. And then when she actually learns for sure that the Siberian is a projection, and that, like, learning that it's from, like, a middle-aged man and not even, like, a young woman, then it, like, really, she feels, like, super betrayed and like, upsetty spaghetti. But luckily she does not take this out on Taylor. If anything, her bond with Taylor seems to be pretty tight during that conversation with Cherish, where she's easily able to rebuke Cherish's shittiness. Oh, I forgot to pull out here. For Lisa, I had a quote. Lisa smiled. It was her old smile. The scar was there, but it no longer pulled her mouth into a perpetual half frown. So yeah, Brian's healing did them all some good in terms of, like, healed previous injuries on top of everything else. And Lisa, you can still tell that she's had these terrible events happen to her, but she's able to do her old smile and not constantly have to swallow from dry mouth forever. Which is nice, because, who wants to constantly swallow from dry mouth forever? No one. Aisha, very accusatory. She's like, I know you, Taylor. You take boys out into dangerous situations so that they get hurt and you can rescue them, and then you bang them. I know you. Terrible. Greg says she's moved from Lisa the Painful to Lisa the Joyful. Exactly. And then, let's see, what else? So yeah, Aisha gets sort of rebuked by Alec, of course, but is very suspicious of Taylor. And as I said while I was, going through it, she's also clearly assisting Brian in and making a real effort there. So that's nice. Nice to see. Who else we got? Who else? Trickster is kind of like, he's like, I can't let them know my secrets. They can't know, or they'll all be mad at me. The secret that the 40 people in New York died is, I think, the main secret that he's hiding. And also, maybe some other secret about, maybe the fact that they would be like, he's only in this for Noelle, and he wouldn't be able to rebuke it in a way that they'd believe. Vale says, back. I can catch up on what I missed. No, I'll just retell you everything I said. No. So, yes. I think we're done talking about Trickster. Sundancer continues to have, like, no cape-mindedness. She can't think like a cape. Vale says, oh, thanks. That is more convenient. Then, yeah, other characters. Of course, Dr. Cherish, who we've already talked about. She's the worst. We hate her. Super good job of making an unlikable character. Siberian's creator. What possible motives could this middle-aged man have? We don't know yet. We just don't know. And then Amy. Amy is not very good at the whole cape thing, and it's good that she was able to figure out after not too long that she shouldn't be fighting Taylor right now, because, Taylor's trying to save her. All that jazz. So Amy's still kind of in flip out mode. She's gonna be someone they need to deal with and reason with before they can move on. And yeah, I think I talked about everybody. That's the characters. Powers knowledge, we get a lot of good instances of, well, the Siberian power, but like its actual use and what it would look like when she like leaps through the truck so that she can rip it in half easily and cleanly, then like still grabs it on the same move, like before she even lands, and then, we theoretically know she can do things like grab a car by a piece of broken glass in the window, but seeing it in action is pretty cool. And like the fact that she brings the building down like she does, like, of course that's on the table for her. It's just awesome to see her actually doing it. And then I felt like there was a lot of good, more texture for the city still being like totally fucked, honestly. Like, I know they're near the Leviathan Lake and stuff, but just buildings are crumbled, like the streets still have just a level of water around them, like, like shin high water. It's terrible. Yeah, I didn't really pull out much more than that. I kind of think Trickster is wasting his grenades, but, it's fine. All right, to the audience participation question. So, I put the question, of course, how much of a relief is it that we're finally past the part where Rachel is mad at Taylor? And then Vale says, not a relief at all. Taylor and Rachel needed to continue fighting until the moment when Taylor takes off her glasses. Rachel realizes she's actually the cutest girl in school, and the story ends with them both learning a valuable lesson about not fighting so much, as it was just a waste of valuable time. Not following this realistic storyline just demonstrates that this story has no idea how to be a true YA novel. Greg says, it is more relieving than a nice cup of tea, but less relieving than petting a purring kitten. All right, that's a good gauge. It's right in the middle of some fairly relieving actions. Let's see here. For the next two chapters. You know me, not prepared with a question. Looking at the chapters as I go. Where's the end point of this one? This is quite long. Oh yeah, we got that part with Bigot talking to them. That's pretty cool. Okay, so for 14.4, design your own custom made Amy bug if you were Skitter and could ask for whatever. Boom. And pasted. So, yeah. Is Bugkini already taken? You can only answer Bugkini if you add a different answer as well. We need more than just Bugkini. It can't be all about that. But anyway, so we are basically at the end. I'm going to read the links as we do the outro music, and I figure we might as well also rewatch the speed draw. Play. There we go. So, as we do, we are gonna have the Discord link in the stream description as well as the channel description. The music used in this episode was Infestation by ScarlettXOX, who's found at twitch.tv/Scarlett_Rogue. The author of the work being discussed can be supported on Patreon at patreon.com/Wildbow. The full text of the work is available for free online at parahumans.wordpress.com. There's also a fan-made audiobook of the entire work at audioworm.rain-online.org. Vale says, thanks and take care. I'll catch what I missed later. By the way, Baldur's Gate 3 is out Thursday. I'm probably going to be quite excited about anything related to that topic for a while. Okay. Cool. Baldur's Gate 3. Greg says cheers. Bye. I'm going to mute my mic.